In this video, I'm going to share with you how we generated over $6 million in revenue in 2025. And it wasn't because we found some new ad hack. It wasn't because we jumped on the latest platform. And it definitely wasn't because we spent more money. In fact, most of the businesses that we were working with were already doing that. They were running ads, their websites were looking good, and they were posting on social media. But behind the scenes, nothing was really working the way that it should. Sales were inconsistent. They didn't know which campaigns were actually driving revenue. And every month, it felt like they were starting over again. And honestly, we kept seeing the same pattern over and over again. Businesses weren't struggling because they lacked the effort. They were struggling because they didn't have a proven system in place. And after seeing this again and again and again, we started asking a different question. Why are businesses doing more but getting less? Because from the outside, everything looked right. Ads were running, traffic was coming in, the brand looked solid, but when we looked under the hood, everything was disconnected. The ads weren't aligned with the website wasn't built to convert, and there was no real follow-up system. And most importantly, there was no clear data telling them what was actually working. So every decision that they made was basically a guess. And that's when it clicked for us. The problem isn't traffic, the problem is what happens after the click. And that's when we stopped thinking like marketers and started thinking like system builders. Because once you fix the system, everything else starts to work. So we built a system to fix this, something that didn't rely on guesswork and didn't fall apart every time that a platform changed. We call it the revenue roadmap. And at a high level, it comes down to 5 core pieces that work together. First, it's your website, because if your site doesn't convert, then nothing else matters. And before we can scale traffic, we need to fix the leaks. Second, it's traffic, but not just running ads and hoping. We build a layered traffic system where each channel has a purpose and works together. Third is retargeting, because most people don't buy on the first time that they visit, so instead of losing them, we bring them back with intention. Fourth is data. This is where everything changes, because once you actually know what's working, you stop the guessing and you start making decisions that scale. And fifth, we turn all of this into a system, not random wins, but a repeatable way to acquire customers consistently. And that's the difference. Not more tactics, but a system where everything is connected. And when you put these 5 pieces together the right way, that's when things start to scale. And this is where things started to change, because once we implemented this system across different businesses in different industries, we started seeing the same thing happen over and over again. More consistent sales, higher conversion rates, better performance from the same ad spend. Not because we were doing more, but because everything was finally working together. Using this exact framework, we generated over $6 million in revenue in multiple accounts combined. And the most important part is that it wasn't luck, it was predictable. This wasn't one campaign, it wasn't one client, and it definitely wasn't a one-time spike. It was the result of building systems that consistently turn traffic into customers and data into better decisions. And once that system is in place, scaling becomes a lot simpler. And this is where most businesses get stuck. They keep chasing tactics, new ads, new platforms, new strategies, but they never stop to fix the system that's underneath it all. So they spend more, they test more, they do more, and they still don't get the results that they're looking for. But the businesses that actually scale, they do the opposite. They simplify, they build the foundation, and they focus on creating a system that works, whether they're watching for it or not. Because when this is built the right way, you don't have to rely on one platform. You don't guess what's working, and you don't hope for sales. You know how to generate them. And that's how we were able to generate over $6 million in revenue in 2025, not by running better ads, but by building a better system for our clients. And if you're serious about building something that's predictable, start focusing on the system behind your growth.